Good evening. Welcome back to another round of Shirdi Baba Satsang, and this time it's going to be. Let me say what I did. November. November, I said, incredible God, incredible. Baba used to say, right? My inscrutable God, I said, right? Sometimes you know circumstances. And then my ways are very mysterious. He's a mysterious God. He's a very inscrutable God. And November, I said, incredible God. Last January, I introduced incredible God. And then last time I said, be on my side so that, down the road I'll be your associate, and down the road I'll take care of your journey. And this time it's going to be turn around God. When you are traveling with Shirdi Baba, down the road I'll take care of you, he said. While taking care of you, sometimes, you misstep. Suddenly you find he's missing. Suddenly you find only 2 steps. You will see, where are you, God? It's a Jesus Christ story. Where are you? I find only my steps. And then Jesus said, and Baba will say, my dear fool, you are a good devotee. The 2 feet, the impressions you see on the sand are mine, not yours. So that is turnaround God. The turnaround God, I call him turnaround God because so many crises you see in your life, even normal life, even successful people. There are so many successful people in this small gathering. So many, I can't just say how much of success you people are getting into, partly because you are in the mission for Shirdi Baba. Our hosts are very successful people. Their success you never know. I get news, even today I got news 30 minutes ago about our host. Very complimentary. So, I'm not telling what it is unless they permit me to. This kind of a journey, this kind of a turnaround God who is Shirdi Baba is necessary for all of you. As I said in the email, as you get closer and closer to Shirdi Baba, you tend to doubt, is he really physical? Mama says he has seen 3 times, number of times from his childhood. That's very, very true. For you to see him, for you to walk with him, you need to have B plus C is equal to total surrender. That C, you cannot surrender totally because that C factor is very, very low. Your IQ may be 127 or 145, but then your C factor will be minus. B will be 9, B plus C, 9 plus highest 9. And then 9 plus minus 75 is not total surrender. You got to understand, even though monthly, once a month I talk to you, and then several of you call me, and then I talk. These days I don't talk for more than 3 minutes. Some people used to talk with me for 55 minutes, but only 3 minutes. Maybe 3 minutes every hour they will call me 3 minutes, they compensate. After all, you are all very intelligent devotees. All those who are smiling, they do that. And I don't mind. Unless my throat is dead, I'm so tired until I ask my wife to make a cup of coffee. I keep going. The turnaround God is a very inimitable God, a very praiseworthy God. That's why this topic was given to me. Because knowing Shirdi Baba is very elevating, you all know that. Understanding Shirdi Baba is exhilarating, some of you know that. But then realizing Shirdi Baba is, I told my quote, well nigh impossible. It is impossible because Shirdi Baba is not on a red tag sale. You can buy him in Macy's. Lo and behold, you can't buy him on Temu.com for $2.99 10 shoes. No, you can't buy Shirdi Baba. That's a very popular site, I know, that's why. How can you really buy Shirdi Baba? That is the next question. The answer lies in the stories I'm going to give you. Kadam was traveling in the train. His full name is Ganpat Dond Kadam. Kadam just was traveling to Shirdi from Nasik to Manmad. And when he was traveling, he got into the train in those days, 3rd class. So I'm talking about when Shirdi Baba's life, 1912, 1910. He just got in, and then when he started reading the book called Bhakti Marg Pradeep, it was written by Lakshman Ramachandra Pangarkar, a Maharashtrian, a very, very nice intellectual man. He was reading Bhakti Marg. When he was reading, he was about to start into, fall into singing satsangs or singing songs, bhajans. When he found number of people, about 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 persons came into this thing hurriedly. They're all known as bills. Bills essentially means they're all, gang members. They're all robbers. They will rob you. They will kill you in the forest, particularly. They're all in the thing, but he's a very naive person. He's a very good, godly man. Not all godly people are naive. Don't take it that way. But naive people are not either godly people. But most of the sattvic people, they are not naive. He's a very sattvic man, and he's reading, and he saw so many people coming and sitting next to him. He thought these people are very nice. They have chosen my this thing in the third class compartment. Nobody is there. And suddenly, he thought, all these people love me, so he started singing. When he started singing, suddenly all these bills, about 7 or 8 persons, started running to the door. The train left Nasik Junction. It slowly moved and thundering into speed. And at that time, everyone, all bills dropped out, jumped out of the train, and then they were running helter-skelter. This fellow, Dond, our Ganpat Dond, Kadam, is a very famous guy later on. He came very close to Shirdi Baba. That's why I'm introducing Kadam for the second time. He went to the door of the train, and it is getting into speed, and then he saw all these people are running. He didn't know, scarcely understood why these people were running. I thought they are all very sattvic people. They are there to listen to my singing, bhajans. All these people are running as if police, whole department of Nasik is chasing them out of the station into the field. The train got enough speed. He didn't know the answers. Dond came, and Kadam came and sat down in the thing. When he came, he saw an old fakir sitting there in the opposite. When he left to the door, there was nobody. And when he was there, he came back. This fellow was singing. He was about to ask something. He was about to answer something. Suddenly, he saw him physically. Suddenly, he vanished. Now he is there. Now he is not. He was very, very wondering, and then he said, what happened? Thinking like that he was lost in thought, and he got down at Dond and then took a jatka, horse carriage. He went there all the way to this thing, Dwarakamayi in Shirdi, and then the first thing when he see Shirdi Baba was sitting there, the first thing he said was exactly, well, how was the trip? How was the trip in the train? Did you travel safely? And Kadam understood everything, that who came and who did not come, all these things he came to know immediately. I call Shirdi Baba the turnaround God. He would have been killed easily for a watch or for 2 rupees or 10 rupee note in his pocket. He would have been killed. That's what the bills do. There are so many stories of bills, but this is one of the striking stories on Satcharita. A lady described her first visit to Shirdi Sai. She was 18 years old and she is coming for the first time. So many devotees there in Dwarakamayi, and suddenly she finds a man doing Sashtanga Namaskar. While doing the Sashtanga Namaskar, his spectacles fall. It fell at the feet of Shirdi Sai. Baba is sitting there, right? It fell on this thing, and so many people are watching, and one of them suggested, this lady, 18-year-old lady is watching. One of the devotees suggested, as the spectacles fell at the feet of our Sadguru, Shirdi Baba, are you okay? Pani? Chinese water I can give you. Since it fell on his feet, the spectacles should be presented to Shirdi Baba. The lady is watching, 18-year-old, first visit, what's going on here? A devotee said that, to which Baba said, nope. He was watching with great nonchalance, and then he said, nope, I don't need this. I don't need any spectacles. I got a pair. They cost me 40 rupees. It's in Satcharita. I got a pair of spectacles. It cost me 40 rupees. The young lady, 18-year-old, didn't understand anything because she is the first visit. She has scarcely seen Shirdi Baba. At 18, you don't understand. There are exceptions. I've seen 1 or 2 in the world. At 18, I was listening to Swami Chinmayananda. I was hardly 12 and a half years old, 8th grade. I liked his lectures. If you find traces of Chinmayananda, particularly taking the political parties, it's in India, by the horns, then that is Chinmayananda. That morning, Mrs. Gandhi would have done something. Then India's Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, would have done something. That evening, Chinmayananda would come up with a big humor. These days, even humor is very expensive. Somebody may come and stalk you and arrest you or kill you. In this story, the dad of the 18-year-old girl, she was very puzzled looking at his own daughter. He explained like this. By spectacles, Baba meant sight or self-realization. I got a pair of spectacles means I am self-realized. By 40 rupees, he said, I worked very hard for 40 long years to attain this kind of a state of self-realization. The young girl, daughter, looked at the father, oh, that everybody said in the Sabha Mandap. They said, that's a fine explanation. And then they all went to Shirdi Baba and started talking, and then he explained further. If this is not a God I introduce, what is the God I introduce? Just now? Huh? Yeah, turnaround God. That girl went on to live a great life. She became a famous devotee, but I am not getting into the story. You would love for me to get into that story. Very famous devotee, and like Nalini Jaiswal in Maharashtra, she was related to Atmaram Tarkar's family. She was a very famous Marathi film star. This lady also became very, very popular. But then we are talking about the turnaround God. Several hundreds of years ago, there lived a very famous astrologer, Joshia, astrologer in a small town. He was extremely famous because whatever he said came true. This was several hundred years ago, even 1,000, 2,000 years ago. From the Dharma, the Vedic Dharma, I picked up this story. Whatever he said came true, and then people from the neighboring villages, all of them sought after him. Hey, let's go to this thing. Particularly people who wanted to know their future, they ended up with that astrologer. He would always say things and then it'll come true. You know some people like that, right? And a farmer in one of the neighboring villages, like in Guru Charitra, is a poor Brahmin, right? Poor Brahmin stories are aplenty in this book from cover to cover. This farmer was a very poor man. He hardly managed 2 meals a day. And then he had a wife and 2 daughters, and then he couldn't find meal. He went hungry, but then he couldn't tolerate his family going hungry. So he didn't know what to do. He was worried. He couldn't find grooms for the daughters because everybody wanted, even in those days, lands. You give me 10 acres of land, we'll marry your daughter. Those were the times, anyway, far different from our times now. So he was very worried. He said, how to know my future. He thought of meeting the astrologer. So he goes and meets with the astrologer. What happened? No? It's a very difficult story, the expression in your face, a painful expression, just like the old farmer. Next day he goes there, and then the farmer invites him, and then, what are you here? My dear Joshia, tell me, I am very worried, and therefore he goes into his this thing, palm leaves, and then he plays with his usual methods, and then he takes a long time. This astrologer is better than an Nadi Joshia, maybe he can see the Nadi, right, looking at your face. And for a long time he was taking, the farmer was told that within 30 minutes, 15 minutes, he will tell you the whole future, and he's taking 2 hours, 1 hour, so what's wrong? And then he again goes into this thing, he asks him to wait, and then second time the Joshia, astrologer, goes into very great listing palm leaves, and then finds strange expressions on his face. He didn't say anything. When he didn't say anything, the farmer is very quizzical, and then the old farmer looks a little bit disturbed. At that point, the astrologer says, I have an important work, an appointment. It's already 2 hours. I thought within an hour I can do this, your job. So I got to go somewhere, and therefore, tomorrow at the same time. And the farmer, being a very poor man, is a very popular astrologer. He said, okay, Guruji, astrologer, I'll come tomorrow. He leaves. The daughter of the astrologer comes, and then she tells him, Dad, my dear father, why did you tell you have a work, important work? You don't have any important work right now. And the farmer, poor farmer, is very worried. He left. Of course, he is going to come tomorrow. The astrologer tells the daughter, I tried my best, but then every decision of the, according to this astrological dharma, every decision shows that he is going to die. This farmer is, poor old farmer is going to die tonight. And then you could have told, he said, no, it's very difficult to tell somebody who has come from one of the villages that you are going to die tonight. Whereas he wants to know his extraordinary future with a wife and 2 daughters. He's worried about them. I can't say this. In the meantime, when this conversation is going on, the farmer keeps on walking through the fields. It's overcast, and then he's very bold, and then he keeps on going. Is the mic okay? Is it okay? Because I hear some second. He keeps on going, and then suddenly the heavens burst, and then there is a very heavy, there's lightning and thunder, and then the very heavy rains, cats and dogs, and then his pace is increasing, and he keeps running. In the fields, out of nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, he finds a temple. Very soon, it's a very dilapidated, very old temple, highly, highly old, maybe 1,000 years ago. He had never seen it. After all, his village is only about 2 more miles. He gets into the village, near the wall, there is a shade. He gets there. When he gets there, he is rambling in his thoughts. He gets into his thoughts, and then he looks at the Shiva temple and then say, if I were a rich fellow, this is his thoughts, he's dreaming. But then he's a very sincere guy, he's a Lord Shiva devotee, I forgot to tell you. If I were a very rich farmer, owning about 100 acres of land and very rich, full of money, I would repair this temple. It's in a very bad shape, 1,000 years old. I would repair the temple, I'll bring the deity, I'll paint the temple, I'll bring beautiful roads and connect all the villages, and then I will also do Kumbhabhishekam for the temple for Lord Shiva. In these thoughts, he forgot to see, he could not see a big serpent above his head on the wall, top of the wall. This is from the Vedic lore, this story. Similar stories must have happened. Definitely the second part, several stories I know personally. The serpent is there, and then he is there, he is lost in the thoughts, and suddenly there is a lightning bolt, too severe. He saw that as if, he was going blind, and then when the lightning bolt came, the rain started, thundering, and then it was pouring, very serious, heavy downpour, like which he had never seen. He starts running. He didn't see the serpent. While running, he saw the serpent, huge serpent. He was about to strike at him, but he escaped. He is running. At that time, the huge wall breaks, and then it comes down into several, parts, debris all over, and then one big stone comes and falls on his right foot. With that, he runs and tells his wife, this is what happened. I was in this. The whole story he tells. When he tells, he doesn't know, because the astrologer never told him that night he was going to die. He tells a story, and then say, okay, we will see him tomorrow. They sleep. He had a very vivid imagination of the Lord's temple, Lord Shiva. And then he says, I would have done Kumbhabhishekam. He was living those moments. He really wished he had money to do those things. Good people are like that. Next day, dawn, and he goes to see the astrologer. Walking about 8 miles, 7.5, 8 miles is the distance, he walks and then enters the astrologer's home. The astrologer looks at him and is completely shocked. He has never gone wrong in any of his predictions, and then he told the daughter. The daughter also looking at the same person, he comes in. He could not, he forgot to welcome him. He comes in and says, Astrologer ji, Guruji, can you please tell me about my future? He says, for the first question he tells the farmer, what happened last night? Because according to his calculation he was to die, he didn't die. And therefore he says, what happened last night? He very graphically explains from the time he left the home till he came back, what happened in the temple. Guruji knows that temple. It's Lord Shiva's temple. It's a very mighty old temple, maybe 1,000 years old. And he tells people to who are very dedicated to the Lord, their longevity is more, they're extended. Their life term is extended by the Lord. According to the Vedas, it is Lord Shiva who gives all these things. He is in charge of your life's extension and all that. Even though Sadgurus do that, is the final command is coming from, the first command is coming from Lord Shiva. It is there in any Veda, particularly in the Yajur and Rig Veda. And then dancing with Shiva, I explained dancing with Shiva. They're all from Veda, drawn from Vedas. It says Lord Shiva gives this thing. Lord Shiva has extended your life. I had gone wrong, and then he was a very, self-centered person. He was chasing money, the astrologer, and he was a very rich guy. And now we came to know the turnaround God in this story, who Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the turnaround God, and then the story has got another part. But then, let me fast forward to Guru Charitra, just to tell you who is the turnaround God before I come to Shirdi Baba. Guru Charitra, chapter 44, talks about a king called Vimarsan, and then the wives. Anybody wife's name? I'll give you a few bucks. Nobody except my wife, because we are discussing these stories often. Wife's name is Kumudavati. Kumudvati, that's what the book says. I call Kumudavati. That's a wife. And then this is in Sacharita, page 200, chapter 44. King Vimarsan telling his wife about his previous life. We read 3 days ago. Why is it necessary? Because the king was a very victorious man, very valiant man. He goes to fight, he goes into war, and then he wins other nations, other cities, and then he's a very successful king, and everybody is afraid of him. His personal nature is a very sensuous man. He goes on to explain to the wife. The wife says, you are such a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva's greatest devotee, and nobody, I know, the wife says, Kumudavati tells the king, in spite of all that, and you are a very valiant king, everybody is afraid of you, you are such a good man in your personal life. But why this sensuality? Why are you spending all your lifetime with women? So you see, women, drinks and all that, except when he is fighting. And then King Vimarsena tells his wife, listen to about my previous life. My previous life was a dog. I was a dog. I was going, one day, I was in the vicinity of a Shiva temple. I was very hungry. Nobody fed me anything, and everybody was throwing stones at me with a big stick. They were beating me. I couldn't take it. I was very hungry, and therefore I entered this temple. This belongs to Lord Shiva. Mahashivaratri was being celebrated. The dog went into the inner sanctorum, and then everybody watched a dog coming in, and therefore they took very big sticks and then started beating him. The dog was already, the king is telling, I was already very hungry, and then I was getting beaten. In the process, remember, in that process of running through, I was in the inner sanctorum, and then I saw Lord Shiva as Abhishekam. I went round 3 times. All the 3 times, I saw Lord Shiva. And then the 4th time, before I could come, people caught up with me, and then they gave me such beating that I died. In the next birth, before that the king tells, the queen is very, very thunderstruck, and what was going on? What next? Now you are king. How did that happen? She was just questioning. And then the king said, by virtue of these merits, that I came around the sanctum Lord Shiva 3 times, and I was also fasting, unwillingly though. Unbeknownst to me, I was fasting because my stomach was empty. I didn't have anything. This is a second merit. Third merit, I was going through Mahashivaratri. Mahashivaratri Mahima is 1 page earlier, right? Remember? Mahashivaratri. Guru Charitra, Sri Narasimha Saraswati is telling these things to anybody. Who is he talking with? Who is he? Sayamdev. Sayamdev's ancestry comes down to Namdarak. That's about conversation with Namdarak. Siddha Muni talks with Namdarak, and the inside story, it will take you branch off to different stories. One such story is this. Kumudavati says, tells his queen, that is the reason, because of these merits, I became a king in this birth. At that point, Kumudavati, the queen, says, "Can you please tell me about my previous life? I already told you the god, right? What is the god I am talking about? Yeah, that kind of a god. Kumudavati already is explaining, and then the king talks with the queen. In the previous life, you were a pigeon. One day, you saw a big piece of meat on the ground, you were flying, and then you saw the meat, and therefore you picked up the meat and you started flying. It was a very hilly terrain, and then one eagle, in the book it will say kite. Kite is nothing but eagle. You may assume it's, since you are in USA, it's a bald eagle. Very mighty, bald eagles are very mighty, right? So it starts chasing our queen's previous Atma, previous Janma, as a pigeon with a big bite of meat inside. So therefore the eagle is looking for the big bite, not necessarily the pigeon. And therefore, while chasing, it uses pigeon, uses all its might to go around. It goes round and round and round in a circle 3 times. And that place happens to be Sri Sailam. Most of you would have seen Sri Sailam. 3 times it goes around Sri Sailam, and therefore, 3rd time, of course, the eagle, bald eagle gets it, and then he eats the piece of meat, and then the big meat, pigeon also is eaten. The king says, because you went around, unbeknownst, you went around Sri Sailam 3 times, that merit alone made you queen. How long will be? The king says, for some more janmas, we will be king and queen, and then we will attain self-realization. So this is the kind of God that I am talking about. The turnaround God that Lord Shiva is none other than Shirdi Baba. In Guru Charitra you have several stories, and this is one story I thought you would like. This is a real story. When I come to Shirdi Baba, he is truly a turnaround God. The last 1 month alone, I have seen about 11 cases. Somebody in the ICR, not ICR, what is that room called? ICU, yeah. In ICU, 3 people in ICU. One from a great devotee's uncle in India, Apollo. He's gradually coming out. There are other people. One person from Atlanta contacted me about exactly 4.5 days ago, first time. I didn't know her. In the email, she said, my brother is very severely ill. He's in an hospital. I am going to New Jersey, therefore. I am not able to conduct the 3rd Saturday. She was picked by the coordinator in Atlanta. She went to New Jersey. First time she did that, I didn't even know the brother. What kind of a disease he was suffering from, and when he went there, I kept quiet. When uncle doesn't reply, when uncle keeps quiet, this is what happens. He passed away. Next day, I didn't even contact her. Next day she said, Uncle, I thought Baba would do miracles. This is the first time she's talked with me. I don't know. I don't know her from Adam. And he passed away, and then I said, I hope you will listen to the satsang. Because birth and death are not in our hands. In Guru Charitra and Satcharita and Sripada Shivallabha, it is directly and indirectly said, birth you cannot control, death you cannot control. Only very few people know if you will die on this particular year, on this particular day. You got to be Siddha Purusha. You got to have Siddha Shankalpam, Daiva Shankalpam to know these things. Human beings cannot get into Daiva Shankalpam unless you are really 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, you think of Sripada Shivallabha or Narasimha Saraswati or our big uncle here. If you really think and do your daily chores of the mundane life, you will really be eligible to receive this kind of a siddhi. And such a man or such a woman can see through life, can see down the road very easily because they give you the siddhi. Baba's graces on a doctor in India, I am taking you back to 1942. He was an MBBS. He came to Yale in this country and got an MS in something like medical subject, human physiology or something, internal medicine. And then he went and he was an officer for civil and military center at Anantapur. I was asking somebody, are you from Anantapur? This Anantapur has got a very big ISKCON temple. It's 120 miles north of Bangalore. Between exactly Hyderabad, Anantapur and Bangalore, exactly in the map I showed you. 120 miles, it's a very salubrious climate. Unless you are Vishakhapatnam, others, they are all in the coastal town. Your Guntur coastal town. Hyderabad and this thing, Anantapur, they are very beautiful places. This doctor, his name is Govindrav, MBBS, MSCL. He was living in Anantapur in 1942. It was a very different city, town, small village. And he was looking for a house when he was transferred to Anantapur. He was a big officer in the military, medical officer. He was looking for a house. He landed with one devotee, great devotee of Shirdi Baba. His name was Ramaswamy. Of late, last 6 months, you are listening to Ramaswamy often, right, on the TV. I don't know, this Ramaswamy in USA is really, he's a Trump supporter. But this Ramaswamy hails Shirdi Baba. Our Ramaswamy, Sri Mr. Ramaswamy, hails the former president. There's a Himalayan difference, though. Can't get into this topic. Ramaswamy's home, when he enters, Ramaswamy is a very big advocate here in this town called Anantapur. Everybody is wildly crying. His wife and then the wife's brothers, sisters, everybody is crying. He didn't know, this doctor didn't know, on being told that they are crying, they are loudly crying, they uncontrollable sadness, and that's because Ramaswamy's daughter, 6-year-old daughter, her name is Pramila. Pramila died of she didn't die. She was injured so seriously, everybody thought she would die. She was just 6 years old. She was holding on to oil lamps, and then she was walking, trying to fix the oil lamps. That was Lord Krishna's function in Anantapur. The book says her pavadai. Pavadai is a Tamil word for skirt. She knows. The skirt caught fire, and therefore that was 85, 90 degrees wound. And 6-year-old girl, she was completely, it happened 10 years ago, 10 days ago before this doctor Govindrav entered the home, 10 days ago. So first 4 days, she was in the hospital, and then the next 6 days she's in home because the hospital people said, it's all beyond our hope, I cannot treat. And those doctors, we cannot treat you, and therefore take her home, leave her to her fate. And at that point, Dr. Govindrav enters. Remember, he meets with challenges, he meets with emergencies, he is an MBBS and AL degree. And therefore, he is just wondering when he sees a lot of pus in the wounds, tremendous amount of pus, and then the body is smelling. It's very difficult. 85-degree wounds is enormous. I heard of one person in Kerala. She's from Hyderabad, and she had 40% wounds. And they came to me, I said she would die in the hospital, and she died. 3 months before, I was talking with that person who died of a fire accident, and I told her, your life is only for 3 more months. Her father challenged me. How do you say? I told the father, I do namaskar to you, Sashranga namaskar. 3 months later, will you please come and see me with the news. This 6-year-old girl, when I read the story long ago, I was very, very touched by that. She was unconscious for the last 6 days with high temperature, 104 degrees, with pus oozing out. All over her body below the neck was burnt completely. That's the story. Some of you would have already decided, Mama's going to say finally, no. So look at how this turnaround God is sitting here live. How does God works with people? When I told you the last lecture, you hold his hands and then travel for the rest of your life journey, right? Only when you hold his hands, when you hold his hands, you will feel the current. I've done that. I've done that several times. I have seen Shirdi Baba live. In fact, I am told by Shirdi people that I am the only person who has seen Shirdi Baba live so many times. Shirdi people told me. It's hard to believe. Some of you would have seen Shirdi Baba probably more than me. But then the number of times I have seen as a child, almost every day, my mother and me, 6-month-old child, he has saved me 3 times as a child from death. As an adult, 3 times. Just 1.5 years ago, 1 year and 3 months ago, somebody loved me so much, he came and hit me in PGBT. And then he again saved me. Why I am saying this is, when you live for him, when you hold hands with Shirdi Baba or Narasimha Saraswati or Sumati Maharani or Baya Jama, these are all celestial mothers. Or Baba Pati, we both have seen Baba Pati, the mother of Shirdi Baba in the previous Janma. We used to have conversation, I used to get her Horlicks, am I right? For her to sustain herself at that old age of 91. I had fabulous conversations about Shirdi Baba. In fact, don't mistake me, I was the first one to tell Baba Pati that you are none other than the mother of Shirdi Baba. Then a big research happened, then the Nadi Joshin in Kanjivaram and Madras and Tanjavur, Kumbhakonam, they all confirmed that in the previous birth she was Baba Pati, was none other than Shirdi Baba's mother. We have seen her. We know how much miracles she did in the lives. This doctor looking at Pramila immediately came out of the home and said, how can I do this? He went back inside. Ramasamy came out of the puja room exclaiming that Baba has sent me the real medical aid immediately. He looked at Dr. Govindarao MBBS and said, you have come, I give my daughter to you in your hands. You have to treat and protect her and then bring her back to life. Govindarao said it is impossible. Doctors in the hospital have given up and I see her condition. But then he said, I'll go to the traveler's bungalow in Anantapur and then bring my medical kit. The idea was to look for a home, and then in the home was Ramaswamy as a landlord, and therefore he went to the traveler's bungalow, brought the medical kit, listen to this, medical kit, and then he found out maggots, the worms that become flies, they are called maggots. And there were 280 maggots on her body. And he took care of 180 out of forceps. He physically removed and then applied a gauze soaked in olive oil. I love olive oil. This is cod liver oil. Soaked in cod liver oil, because in those days, 1942, there was hardly any drugs. He could only give M and B 693 tablets. In those days, they were very popular, M and B, and therefore he gave, after taking about 180 maggots, this worm, small worms, he picked with forceps. Everybody was watching. And then when he was about to leave, Sri Ramaswamy, the girl's father, brought the only thing that could save you and Pramila and me, was the Udi. He brought from the Swamiji's puja room, brought the Udi and applied right in front of the doctor, also telling the doctor, this is the picture of Shirdi Baba, please do puja. He's a great devotee of Shirdi Baba, Sri Ramaswamy, God's father. And the MBBS was looking at him. I had never heard of Shirdi Baba, Sai Baba, I never heard. He took the photo reverentially and did a namaskar to Sri Ramaswamy and then left. From next day onwards, every day he will come and look at Pramila. 10 days he was doing like that. On the 10th day, the skin had grown, all the wounds, the pus, everything had disappeared. Believe me, this is a real story, unlike the folklore previous story. This is a real story of 1942. Everything gone, she has developed beautiful skin, and then the very next day, that night, the medicine was given, M&B 693, that's the name of the tablet. Powder it along with honey, the mother was told to give when she wakes up. She did wake up that night and asked for milk and water. So all these things were given to her. When it was given, next day morning, she started talking with the doctor himself, Govindarao. And the doctors in the hospital, they were put to shame. 1942, they didn't know much. These days, the doctors are very smart, right? Very intelligent and smart in the American sense. And they usually give the right medicine. They say, even though they treat, most of the doctors treat only symptoms, they treat it well. They just change the medication after some time and until you get cured. So this M&B 693 cured her in one day. And then the doctor was very surprised. The 104-degree fever went down to normal. And then her cough and cold went down to normal. Her pulse was, in the book says, the pulse was normal, which is full. She had full pulse. And everything was so nice. And this doctor was very, very surprised. Every day he went there and went on looking at Pramila. It's a very big surprise, and the girl got all right. On the 10th day, within 60 days, she was a normal girl, and then she found it hard to believe. Pramila had grown up. Girls grow up faster, you all know. She grew up and he turned out to be nubile and marriageable age, and therefore she was 16 into 17. Her marriage was fixed. 1942. Marriage was fixed, and then she wanted to go and see. In the meantime, this doctor was transferred from Anantapur to Chennai. In those days, it was called Madras. So he went to Madras, and then in Madras, he used to wander. But while wandering, he was a very busy doctor in Madras, and therefore he forgot completely. Next to 10 years, Dr. Govindarao, MBBS, MS, Yale, he completely forgot Shirdi Baba. The girl got married. She invited personally, gave again one more picture, but then he didn't attend the marriage because who is Shirdi Baba, he said. And therefore she went back, got married. She settled down in Hyderabad, another name for India. Not I.N.D. This is India, the country. Hyderabad. I call Hyderabad India, okay? Settled down. She was very happy that Shirdi Baba cured me and all that. But in the meantime, this God I am describing, right? The turnaround God is only for Govindarao, MBBS. He went there after about 10 years, 11 years. He was posted at Andhra Medical College, Visakhapatnam in 1952, exact year, 1952. And he was in Visakhapatnam, and Visakhapatnam in those days there was heavy politics in Andhra Pradesh. They wanted a separate state. The Telangana must have started in 1952-53. That's what the book says. I am unable to guess. Anybody from Visakhapatnam? The devotee right there, Sri Nandakishore knows. And he said, I want to be away from all this confusion, political confusion, all this challenging times to property and individual lives. So he went to Mysore. Along with his brother-in-law, he was one day going out in Mysore. The road's name is Tyagaraja Road, Mysore. It's a very big road today. And when he was walking, it started raining. He had forgotten Shirdi Baba, and therefore both of them ran into a building, and that happened to be the most beautiful temple in Mysore for Shirdi Baba on Tyagaraja Road. Anybody from Mysore? No. I got to ask my mother. My mother is from Mysore. And the sudden downpour, he was just looking. The brother-in-law said, why not get into the temple? They said, yeah, it is raining anyway, we will get into the temple. In the sanctum sanctorum, very close to Baba's feet, it's a beautiful temple even today. An old man, 93-year-old man was sitting. And he beckoned a doctor, MBBS doctor nearby, and then when he came nearby, he gave him a beautiful picture of Shirdi Baba. The same picture that Sri Ramaswamy, Pramil's dad, gave, the same picture was given to him. And then doctor, was, I don't know, it's a very naive question. He said, are you on behalf of the temple, are you here to sell these pictures? The old man got very angry, very livid. He said, I am not here to sell the pictures. I am here to remind you that you have completely forgotten Shirdi Baba. Showed her the statue, huge statue. You have completely forgotten Shirdi Baba, therefore this picture is given to you. Baba asked me to give you the picture. Doctor, who? Govindarao, MBBS, was ashamed and then he remembered, yes, I have completely forgotten. Even Pramila came and said in Chennai, I had completely forgotten this God who cured Pramila and who is taking care of me. And therefore, he walked out, the doctor. Before going out, the old man, 91-year-old man said, keep this picture with you, and when you build your own home, keep it in your puja room. Keep this picture for your puja room, your own puja room when you build your home. The doctor came out and said, he was telling his brother-in-law, my total savings, 1953, my total saving is only 5,000 rupees. I hardly have. In those days, 5,000 rupees is a very good saving, of course, and that's all I have. Yeah, how can I build a home with this 5,000 rupees? It's very little, minuscule for a home. But then, when you come into the fold of Shirdi Baba, it's a mysterious man, right? My ways are mysterious and my anugraha miracles are, yeah, inscrutable. Look at this inscrutability of this miracle is about to perform in Dr. Govindara. He went to Madras from Mysore, and when he went there, a real miracle happened in his life. He says this is the biggest miracle. A cooperative house construction society of Madras invited him for 5,000 rupees. We will sell you 5 grounds. Yeah, unimaginable number. Don't even dwell on this subject. Tonight you won't sleep. 5,000 rupees, Indian rupees converted to US dollars, and 5 grounds he is selling. And then they said, this is Shirdi Baba. His wife was telling, this is Shirdi Baba. He bought it, and the company, cooperative society, built a spacious mansion. 3 times the size of Haima's home, maybe. Where is Haima here? Is Haima here? Oh. Mr. Paddy, okay. She's got an English husband. Mr. Paddy is here? Okay, he's here. Good. Yeah. 3-4 times your home, Dr. Govindara bought and it was built. And then the keys were given to her exactly in 3 months. The wife was very happy. Of course, the women are very, very happy when they get a home that big. Bigger than Bill Gates, perhaps. No electronic instruments to open up your coffee pot and your door. Srimati Haima has all of them because this is today. Don't say no, okay? All right. They were very, very happy. In 1954, they got possession of the house. Okay, installment program, everything was given. They were immensely happy. And ever since he became a very great devotee. What can I tell you about the turnaround God? This is a turnaround God. How come so many people don't come to the puja? From Houston, 3 families, 2 families have come. Even though I couldn't recognize one gentleman, I still don't recognize. I asked his daughter, I'm going to ask his wife, is this your husband really? Yes, Mama. You look more like, from this angle, you look like Dr. Phil of CBS. I'm not lying. Look at him. He's Dr. Phil. You know, he has built a huge studio in Dallas, Fort Worth, I believe, or Austin, and he has got a special show. He looked exactly like you 5 years ago. I watch him. He just counsels people and gives advice, that's all. He built a big empire, and that empire has come to DFW. And you look like him. When are you going to build your empire in Houston? Do we have some time? This man in California was always looking, IT, was always looking for a fabulous career. In spite of his wishes and dreams, he could never reach his fabulous career. He was looking for that. He was applying for so many jobs. He never came to Shirdi Baba or the Satsang. He was trying for so many possibilities like VP, software development at some corporation, the hospitality division, or VP CTO role in a startup company, some academy. He was trying. This was in February 2015, 2015, a good 9 years ago, right? Almost 10 years ago. He didn't know me, but then in that western state of California, when I went there twice in the temple, I had a lecture. And in that lecture, he was present, and then he said he got very, very quizzical about Shirdi Baba. Even though his ancestors were with Shirdi Baba, but then his wife was also working in a forex business. But then while working in the forex business, they were not well off. They had a son and a daughter. Son was super brilliant. Daughter was also doing well, but the son was extraordinarily brilliant. But look, before you come to several emergencies like this gentleman in California I had met with, several. But then it was not on his cell phone. It was through this uncle. He was about to start an IT consulting company, which was on sale, and therefore he was about to acquire this company. He could not. Secondly, a different company approached him for a startup product company. as an investing partner and run the technology group. He could not buy that. He was very hopeful. He wrote to me an email in March 2015. I just told him these two are not possible. I said, the financial services industry will succeed and therefore go for it. He said, Uncle, I am already running a financial service industry. I have not seen much money. In fact, I am going into loss along with my partner. That's what he said in March 2015. So he went on and on and on, and then finally a startup company, we'll call it Y. A startup company Y he started. It's a cloud-based. You all know that. I don't know much about cloud. So he started it, and then when he was writing to me an email, this program is very popular. I'm going to officially start a beta program this October, and we have 43 coaches who have already been trained, 45 coaches, and therefore, Mama, this is going to give me enormous money very soon, and therefore, finally, Baba showed us the way, and I'm going to stick to this. He said, but in the meantime, about 3-4 years have gone, and there was not much money. The first person who is affected when you, as a man, when you don't make enough money is your wife. You all know that. Or the wife is earning much money and then she is unable to support the family, right? The first person to be affected will be the husband. Came 2017, he could not manage. At the same time, look, when troubles come, they come in not in single spells, but in battalions. That's what Shakespeare said, I think. And therefore, this gentleman in California had lots of problems were coming. His teenage son became very rebellious. He dismissed it as some of the teens' behavior, and therefore it's okay, Mama. He wrote to me the whole behavior and then said okay himself. He also told me in the email that he has got a very high grade in math and computer science. He is getting 100 out of 100, a high grade, and teachers are telling he will get a GPA of between 4 and 5 because his math and computer science grades are very high. But then a different story came from the chemistry honors lecturer of this particular boy in the high school. The chemistry honors teacher thought he was 3 years younger than the other kids. In his 10th grade, he had all the boys and girls were 17, particularly boys were 17, 16, 17, 18, and he was 13 years old. This was shown as a remarkable example for his immaturity. He is very immature and very naive because he is only 13, his classmates are all 17, 18. So chemistry honors teacher said, but in spite of all that, he ended up with an A. And therefore, the one subject he was very uninterested is AP in the world history, in history class, US history, sorry. In US history, he was very, very poor, and therefore, he said he is going to fail in US history. But a person who is going to embrace IT, who cares about world history, who wants to know US history of, I don't want to mention names. Excuse me. The father was very worried that he was becoming very dull and seemingly very, very disinterested in home. He was not talking with the father or the mother. The mother was working in an industry and she was making some money. The father was looking at all this dream. He was a dream chaser. He was chasing the dreams for 4-5 years. No money at all. He thought it's a cloud business, so therefore he started drifting in the cloud, seventh heaven, with a 7-Eleven coffee on the right hand. He could not get a job. When you don't get a job in IT for 4-5 years, you are discouraged, right? When particularly your colleagues are running 3 monitors, 3 rooms, and 3 jobs. When colleagues are having 3 jobs, he is discouraged. It's normal, right? And therefore, this father wrote to me, he is very immature, he needs to become very mature and work very hard. And therefore, he behaves like a little baby and very rebellious at home. When I went to California, I did a Dwarakamayi Puja in their home. He has a daughter. This rebellious boy is younger than his sister. I had to tell the boy never came from second floor, and therefore the girl was sent. I said, bring your brother. And then the first time he said, no, I won't come. I don't like gods. What are gods doing here? What is this uncle doing here? He didn't come. I couldn't take that. I calmly went upstairs. I told this gentleman and the mother. The mother went, the mother was not even allowed inside the room by her own son. The father was afraid of the son because he's a rebel. Getting A plus in computer science and maths, he's a rebel. I told he's not a rebel. He's going to be a valedictorian. I went there, I entered, he allowed me inside. I said, would you mind coming to my puja? My lecture is over, just a puja for 30 minutes. I'll give you flowers. You will end up valedictorian in your school. It was 10th grade. He came down. He had a hair like Albert Einstein. An IQ very much like Albert Einstein. This I came to know later. Where is Ron? IQ. When I think of IQ, I think of Ron. He is now flying. He is in IT. Look at that. This boy came to 11th grade. He surfed and got school first. And 12th grade, he did become the valedictorian. The father wrote to me, Mama, you went into his home and he ended up a valedictorian. No, it is not me. It is a thunderbolt God. What is the God I called first? Turnaround God. I said thunderbolt. It's all right. He was a James Bond earlier. Very rebellious and very smart. He had cut his hair completely. Once he became valedictorian, probably the headmaster, the PhD person said, excuse me, cut your hair and all that. And he got the award. His SAT score, real score is 1540 out of 1600. 1540. He received a scholarship in the college. Admission, everything is free. And then I told the father, hey, this is the God. What is the God, I said? I forgot. Turnaround God. Because I talk about so many adjectives for this great uncle, I can never forget. Thousands and thousands of people right in front of me are going up from 189K to 435K. The story I told, she's living in Atlanta. Her husband came to me, he's bothering me that, Mama, my salary is 129K. Make me $401 more than 435K. So my answer is, you become your wife. So, Mama, that I can do. You do with so many people you have raised. My wife's salary is 435K and you got her 4 jobs with the same salary. She just went through all the 4 HRs and then chose the highest salary. She was always in touch with me. She's listening to this satsang. She listened to the satsang for the last 12 years. She had her questions always solved. She was very humble. When she lived in Portland, she used to say, Mama, I don't like all these people. They are all very rough and they don't know knowledge. I said, all successful IT people, how do you think they have knowledge? No offense meant, all the successful ITs here, so VPs and others, you need not know everything about the job. You just have to go and play golf with your boss. You just have to join a political party. You just have to go and mix with all these doctors. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi comes, you have to surround him, the doctors. Or you should at least be a card holder of BJP party. Right? All these things are very essential. Your knowledge takes a second seat, not necessarily the back seat. And then, other stories. Now, this fellow, after getting this 100% in math and all that, is going to a college, and then in the college they gave him full scholarship. But then, you thought this is a simple story? Unable to bear the losses, the husband was not bringing even $1. She decided to end her life. She drank the antifreeze that you use for your car. Antifreeze she drank, and then she was rushed to the hospital. Of course, you know what is antifreeze, right? No? Ask your left-hand neighbor, she will tell you. She drives car at 120 miles an hour. She uses a lot of coolant and antifreeze. You know antifreeze, right? What happens when you drink that? The son was walking, and then she thought it's a green colored liquid. She's drinking some kind of a Chinese tea. There are 75 kinds of tea, therefore he left. Usually that son, even though he's bright like Ron never treats his mother like that. The mother is complaining, but then he is treating her very well, extremely well. The mother is complaining. I told the mother not to complain. This is a fine boy. IQ. I told the IQ. Said much more than me? Of course. He doesn't complain about you. That's why IQ is very high. The wife was drinking the green colored, that liquid, and then she was rushed into the hospital. The gentleman wrote to me, I know where she is coming from. Every single day I feel insulted for not providing for the family. Several times the wife used to tell him, the husband, respectful husband, is a good man, that you don't have any right to eat meals in our home made by me. This word a husband cannot take. And he took that. He took that with great humility. Very humble, he said, very soon I'll get a job. But then the only mistake he did was, I already told you, he was flying among the clouds. Cloud as a platform, all those jobs, he never came to me. He was running a financial business which in 2021 brought him some money. Some money it brought in 2021. Therefore, he knew some such thing would happen, and in the hospital they struggled, and then they brought her back to life. At that point he called me. Said, use the Udi. The great turnaround, thunderbolt of a God is there. I had given him a picture, medium-sized picture, I believe. And he had an uncle there. He will save you. Never doubt this uncle, he will save you. And she came back. This is a real story. This is so real that they are living in California. The boy is highly, highly successful. I'm not giving out the name because they are all, now it's a very successful family. They are all happy. The wife knows now that what a foolish thing I did to drink antifreeze. Jobs are plenty. She just have to send a resume to one of the guys here who are all VPs and senior VPs. Mika might get a job in Middle East. She's very influential. Our Shiva would get 3 jobs, 2 in India, 1 here. Because basic requirement is 3 monitors and 3 jobs. That's what I was really meaning. And therefore, the turnaround thunderbolt of a God I call Shirdi Baba helps these families. How many stories? I got about 18 to 20 stories today. The girl fell in love, North Carolina. She went into a workshop. She was studying some pediatrics, pathology and all that, going for a pre-med. She was in a pre-med course, fell in love with a person. When she told me the person's name, I'll make this story very delectable story to show his might. But I'll brief the story to a very small, short story because it is already 7:40. I still have 10 minutes? Oh, thank you so much. She fell in love with the person, and then the future of the person, when she asked, I said it's a very, very kind of a black history, future history. This man is going to have lots of health issues. This man is not going to be a good husband. This man, there's nothing wrong about this statement I'm going to make. He belongs to a different religion and therefore will bring lots of pressure on you in married life from day one. All your children will have to eat. She is coming from a Brahminical background, eating only sattvic vegetarian food. And therefore this gentleman in your married life, he will ask you to cook beef, cook fish. Fish is good, I recommend, but beef, other things, chicken, turkey, everything every day, and feed the children. He also needs all this food. Not only that, you got to start learning from your mother. You are going through a pre-med pediatrics program, and therefore how much can you learn? Even if you marry this particular person, it's not going to be a successful marriage. She replied to me back. She was a very well-known person. I had introduced this person, female devotee, to the American audience 10, 12 years ago. You all know this person as a very successful person. She received so many scholarships. And when all these things are going on, suddenly bad vibes, the previous karma visiting, right? Previous karma, bad things, bad karma comes and impinges on your life. You do all these things. She just went there, but then met this man, and there is nothing to, no chemistry between these two persons. The future, absolutely no chemistry. When I told, she got angry with me, she stopped talking with me. The parents came to me, I said, this marriage should not take place. This marriage will not take place. Shirdi Baba says this marriage will not take place. I told, very emphatically put my right foot down and told, that's it. The parents used to love me, respect me. That's it. I told you, assured you, that I'll make it too small a story. Years went by, and something happened, and they fell into hot discussion, this boy and this girl in California, very close to San Francisco. They fell into hot words. And then, as predicted, the girl said, I can't marry you because these are all the things I didn't know, but uncle had said all these things. The boy sent me email after email, I want to marry this person, she is such a nice person. Of course, she is a very good person. We all know her. But then, finally, that marriage, out of their own will of this thunderbolt of a God, right? What is this God's name, I said? Turnaround God. He turned around their life exactly the way I told. There are lots of details, very invigorating details, interesting details I'm avoiding now, there's no time. I told you this only because what is written in your destiny, some Siddha Purushas in this world can see. She's getting married end of February with an extraordinarily intelligent, very suave and gentle person from this country, Northeast. They are getting married in India. Congratulations. You know why? This is one reason why you should follow this great uncle. This uncle does not only say you won't get married with this person. I was talking with a young man from Houston the other day, 2 days ago. Said, come and see me in the satsang. He wants to marry somebody in, say, New York or Washington, D.C. I said, bring her photograph. The photograph was sent in the mail. I also told something about the girl, but then today I'll talk more about the girl. People who marry, they send the pictures of the boy or the girl, the boy, young man or the girl to me. Baba gives me 5 seconds to choose whether this marriage is going to be okay or not. There are several examples. Most recent example is this one. So the young man is here. I'm going to talk with him with reference to the girl with great focus. Are you going to marry? Are you willing to marry? These are all the things that is shown to me by Shirdi Baba. If you agree with all these things, you can go and marry. I'll say the positive things, I'll say the negative things. If they want my opinion, I'll say marry or don't marry. All in 10 seconds. Doesn't take much time. Very quickly he does things. When you hold his hands, if you don't have a child, go and see this doctor. He tells immediately, go and see this. In 6 months you won't have a baby. In 6 months you will have a solution. 10 months from then, you will have a baby. Very nice, good looking baby. Am I right? So, listen, you are coming to this satsang is a very important thing you are doing once a month. This is not done every day or every week. Even though I have invitations from several cities, Mama, do this once in DFW, next week you come to Ellicott City near Washington, D.C., come to Boston, come to San Francisco. 5 families are inviting me near San Francisco. Aas-paas mein hai. So I can go and see all those people. Literally 7 people, but 5 people are inviting me for the last 4 years. Thanks to COVID, I couldn't travel anywhere. Now I can't travel anywhere because I'm a senior student at UTD. I'm learning neuroscience. I am a student of my own daughter who teaches me night 11:30. Saiki nahi. Is it not true? I learned neuroscience. I am 76 years old. I am a honorable student at UTD. I go there. All the classes my daughter will attend, I will go there, and then I have requested them only one request. It should be free. Don't charge me. I don't have the wherewithal to pay through the nose. And the medical school will be too expensive, right? So even at this age, I'm not afraid of learning. Why don't you come in every puja and learn much more than? All I know is 1%, tip of an iceberg. In that tip, I know only 1%. I'm ceaselessly spreading Shirdi Baba's word with so many stories. I get emails after every third Saturday. I get 10-15 emails. Mama, that was a beautiful story you said. Why don't you continue the story? Yeah. It is because He is a turnaround God. His temples are growing more and more. In DFW, in this city alone, there are 5-6 temples. Very close to where I live, very close to where you live, there is a temple midway. He is going to get Guinness Book of World Records, most photographed saint. Most photographs Saint Sadguru has. He was not photographed, but twice only. Once he erased it, and the stone picture came live. And the one near Dwarakamayi, that's a live picture. That's all he had. He's the most photographed. His photographs are there in every home, in most 90% of homes in India. Because people come to know that He is a turnaround God. There are lots of other stories, like Srimati Bona, Srimati Sirisha, Sri Nitin, and then Pradeep, and then Srimati Sarah. All these people enjoyed His turnaround help. And for every story I told you there are 100 more stories for every story I told. So this is the God. I brought 3 more stories. I don't have time. One is a story of Jyotindra Ramachandra Tarkad. We will reserve it for next satsang. Now please ready yourself for the puja. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Houston. And thank you very much for paying attention to these stories. After each Namavali, you have to say Om Shri Dwarakamayi. That's all. Okay? Om Shri Sai. Om Shri Sai Sai Nadaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Lakshmi Narayana Namaha. Om Shri Sai Krishna Rama Siva Maruti Yati Rupaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Sesha Sai Ne Namaha. Om Shri Sai Godavari Tata Shiladi Vasine Namaha. Om Shri Sai Bhaktavana Pradiknyaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Budavasaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Buddha Bhavishya Pava Varjitaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Kalatitaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Kala Kalaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Kala Darpa Damanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Mrityunjayaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Amartyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Martya Abhaya Pradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Jivadaryaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarvadaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhaktavana Samarthaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhaktavana Pradiknyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Annavastradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Arogya Kshemadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Dhanamangalya Pradaya Namaha. Riddhi Siddhidaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Putra Mitra Kalatra Bandhudaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Yoga Shema Vahaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Apad Bandhavaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Marga Bandhave Namaha. Om Sri Sai Priyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Priyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Preeti Vardhanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Antaryamine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sachidanandaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Nityanandaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Paramasugataya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Parameshwaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Sri Sai Paramatmane Namaha. Om Sri Sai Jnana Swarupine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Jagadapitreya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhaktavana Pradiknyaya Namaha. Bhaktavana Paradinaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Saranagada Vatsalaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhakti Sakti Pradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Prema Pradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samshaya Hridaya Daurbalya Papa Karma Vasana Shayakaraya Namaha. Hridaya Granthi Bedagaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Karmadvamsine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Suddha Sasvastidaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Gunadita Gunatmane Namaha. Om Sri Sai Ananta Kalyana Gunaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Amita Parakramaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Amita Parakramaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Jayine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Jayine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Durdarsha Shobhaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Aparajitaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Trilekeshu Abhigata Gataye Namaha. Asakya Rahidaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarvasakti Murtaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sulokshanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bahirubha Vishwamurtaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Arupavyaktāya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Ashintaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sushmaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sushmaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sulabhadurlabhaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Premamurtaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarvabharaptute Namaha. Om Sri Sai Akarmaneka Karma Sukarmine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Punya Shravana Kirtanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Tirthaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satam Gataye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satparayanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Lokanagaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Loganadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Pavananagaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Amritamsave Namaha. Om Sri Sai Amritamsave Namaha. Bhaskara Prabhaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Brahmacharya Tapasaryadi Suvrataya Namaha. Satya Dharma Parayanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Siddheshwaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Siddha Shankalpaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Siddha Shankalpaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhaktavatsalaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satpurushaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satpurushaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Purushottamaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Kamadi Sadvairi Dvamsine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samarasa Shanmargasthapanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Venkatesa Ramanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Venkatesa Ramanaya Namaha. Atpudananda Sharyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samsara Sarva Dukkha Shayakaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samsara Sarva Dukkha Shayakaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samsara Sarva Dukkha Shayakaraya Namaha. Sarvavid Sarvato Mukaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarvantar Bhagistidaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samarasa Shanmargasthapanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sadguru Sai Nadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samartha Sadguru Sai Nadaya Namaha. Sri Sai Nadaya Namaha. Now everybody. Om Sri Sai Sri Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaga Rajadi Raja Yogi Raja Parabrahma Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. This 1 minute silence, you pray for welfare of anybody you have in mind. Your own welfare. Absolutely okay. Now let's do the Aarti, and with the Aarti the Puja will be over. If you want, you can receive flowers from me. That is up to you.
शिर्डी माझे पंढरपूर साई बाबा रमावर साई रमावर साई बाबा रमावर शुद्ध भक्ती चंद्र भागा भाव पुंडलिक जा
श्री साई नमो नमः। जय जय साई नमो नमः। सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः। ओम साई नमो नमः। श्री साई नमो नमः। जय जय साई नमो नमः। सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः।
ओम साई नमो नमः। श्री साई नमो नमः। जय जय साई नमो नमः। सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः।
ओम साई नमो नमः। श्री साई नमो नमः। जय जय साई नमो नमः। सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः।
ओम साई